And just right. Thank you, John, in the chat, and Chisom. So thanks for introducing me as well, Toby. I'll just introduce myself again roughly. My name is Anthonia Omeza, as you may have seen on the poster that Toby has put out before on LinkedIn. I'm a data analyst, and I've been in the industry now for, I'd say, about 2 years now. Originally, I'm a chemical engineer. That's what I studied for my undergraduate. And immediately after, I thought I don't really want to work in this industry. So I did masters in computing. And that's, how I found myself as a data analyst, and I've loved it ever since. So today I'll be talking you through creating an interactive dashboard in Excel. So I know a lot of people don't think that Excel has a lot of interactive capability, and there's a lot of workarounds that you might have to do in order to get what you want. So I will show you sort of 1 or 2 hacks that I was able to do in order to create a dashboard per se on Excel. It's going to be hands-on, so I don't really have slides or anything, but hopefully, as Toby said, he has recorded this, so people should be able to follow it after on. So I'll just get into it without further ado. So Toby, are we still good? You can hear me, right?
Yes, loud and clear. Yeah. Please go on.
Lovely. So let me share my screen. This is where it always breaks. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
I can, yeah.
Lovely. So this is a dashboard showing certain metrics and shared between different institutions. So on the left-hand side here, we can see choices for universities, so institutions in the United Kingdom. And there's certain metrics here that we want to look at. So their score over 100, students that were satisfied with the course, different things. And I'll show you what the data looked like originally. So this was the data. So imagine somebody trying to make sense of all this kind of data. They've got all the institutions here, and they've got different metrics. And immediately, if someone wants to know, I want to compare these 5 universities and see which one I want to go to based on different metrics, it's not as easy to look at. It's not even nice to look at. So that's why I just thought, okay, let's put this into a dashboard. By the way, Toby, if you can help me monitor the chat in case anyone's saying anything, because I can't see. Yeah?
On it.
Lovely. So yeah, so let's get to it. What I like about this is the interactive ability of changing different parameters, and then immediately your graph is responsive. And you can also change the different universities you want to look at, and that metric also changes as well on the graph. So easy peasy, very simple. And the graph responds. So let's go about how we make that first graph. I will unhide. We'll just start a new chart here. So in order to make this graph, we need 5 selectors here and another selector for the metric. Let's call this dashboard 2. So previously, I have created a tab that shows all the options here, which I will just select and copy and paste. Okay. So if we go to dashboard 2, we need 5 selectors, and we need them to be, sort of institutions here. That's where data validation comes in. Sorry, there's just something across my screen. I need to move about. 1 second. Yeah, so I can see that now. Right, so if we go to data validation and we want this box to be a drop down, and we want it to be a drop down that has the universities in there. So we'll go to data validation and click on list, and in there we will go to the right option tab. Apologies, because I'm working from a small screen. Okay. So back here, we'll go data validation, go to lists, and on the source, we want to go to where we have our institution, and we want to select all of these institutions here. Okay, and you see that here is now a drop-down box, just like what we had in the original dashboard. Bearing in mind that all what we've kept in these options are the exact same as the institutions here. Okay, so once we do that, we can just copy and paste that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 selectors for institution, and then we can just maybe color it in gray so that it stands out. And here I can pick 5 institutions. And then we want another one for the data that we're picking at the top. So these are metrics that we're trying to look at, which we have here. And we're going to put them in a selector at the top there. We can make that gray again, same data validation, and change that to list. And we go to our options 2 tab. I'll try and be as fast as I can, and I'll hide these so that they don't confuse us. So we've got this ranking data we're trying to do, right? So yeah, so now what we want to do is in all of these, we want it to sort of reflect each of these lines and show us what metric we are looking at. So just so we understand exactly what we're looking at, for each institution, they've got different types of rankings. For example, this is the Guardian score out of 100 for the University of Oxford, and this is the ranking out of 100 for students that were satisfied with the course. Here it's not non-applicable, but it's out of 100. So if we go back to the dashboard and we want to put a formula in here that will look at the students in the University of Bangor and reflect the amounts that were satisfied with feedback. So we have to go back here and find a way to pull out one line of this data so that we can isolate it. And let's go here. I'm just going to put the titles here. And then since I want the institution to only come from whatever is selected here, I take note of this, of the title of this cell, and then I'll show you what I'll do with that in a minute. So we use this function called filter, and filter looks at an array. So this whole array of data, and then it tells me what I have to tell it, sorry, what line I want to filter it by. And I'm trying to filter it by the institution. And I want to say that line I'm trying to filter it by, it needs to be whatever is in this box there. And if there's no answer, I want it to just reflect none. Okay, so immediately we can see Bangor has come up because that's what's in this box, and it will tell me whatever is on that line here, usually here. And because we don't want it to move all about, I apologize that I'm going in between sheets, but this is how we try and get that across. And so we don't, because we don't want it to move about, we just put you know, the dollar signs on each of them. And because I'm using a MacBook, it doesn't let me press F4, so I have to go and do this manually. Okay, so this is for our choice 1. Okay, so if we try and do that again for all 5 choices, and we'll change this around in a minute. So this is choice 2, choice 3, choice 4, and choice 5. And the thing about Excel is because it doesn't have this inbuilt functionality. So this is a bit of a workaround. If you're working with any other analytics tools like Power BI or Tableau, it's a bit more straightforward. So this is a workaround for if you're working for a company that doesn't necessarily have, you know, that kind of a tool. So working within your means kind of thing. So all we need to do is to change around this formula so that it reflects the choice 2 instead of Bangor, which is it currently is on. So let's pick something else that will let us know what we are doing. Okay. So we haven't yet written a formula to get us the actual metrics in these boxes. At the moment, we're trying to just pull those lines out. So for choice 2, if we yeah, so sorry, 1 second. So all I'm doing is you see where it says Bangor, that was cell A3, and here. So all I'm going to do to change for all of the other ones is to put the correct cell IDs in there. I can see things popping up in the chat, but I don't know what they are. So hopefully, you know, hopefully you're okay. And Toby will let me know if I need to know anything. 6 and 7. So all I've done now is, you see those lines where I'm having institution choices, it's bringing me the correct lines from here. And now when I go to the dashboard, for me to get the actual data or the actual number, all I'm doing is index match. So index match is like a form of VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP. And it works either sideways or vertically. So when I do an index match, is a mix of 2 functions. I first index what I want to return from the list, which is these numbers. And then I want to match the value that I'm trying to look up, which is this. And I want to match it based on, I'm trying to match the value I'm trying to look up, which is the title of the chart. So satisfied with feedback is the option or the metric that we're looking at the moment. and I'm going to look up that value in this array here. And 0 says we want an exact match. And close bracket twice and enter. So you can now see that it's looking up the value satisfied with feedback for Bangor, and it's saying 72.5. So satisfied with feedback, Bangor, 72.5. So we've got our first, value. And just so we have to put the dollar signs as well so things don't move about. So this is how you work around in Excel. If you are using a Microsoft laptop, you can, when you go to the value you want to make static, you can just press F4. I know people probably know this, but that's easier. Okay, so we can now drag this down. This is all wrong for the other 4 because they are not the right arrays. And we just need the correct ranges. And I'm just changing the numbers to the right ones because I already sort of know what they are, but yeah, 19. So all I'm looking at is, you see this range is the value I want it to return. And because it's different for each of the choices I've put up, I have to change that range. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, and it should say, so satisfied with feedback. Box new university, so 72.7. So it should give me everything in this line, which you can see is the same, 72.5 all the way to 72.7, 72.5 all the way to 72.7. So basically the hardest bit of the work is done now. All we need to do is to now create a chart and then do some nice formatting in Excel, which Excel is quite capable of a few things. So we select these and then we go to insert, and we want a chart. So let's do clustered column, yeah? So just to reiterate what we're trying to achieve with this, we are trying to be able to compare a single metric across 5 different choices. And so easily a student can go to this chart now and see, okay, if I want to see which university is the best at being satisfied with feedback, you can see straight away it's Bucks New University that wins this. If I want to go by the Guardian score out of 100, which university was the best Guardian, rated out of 100 for the Guardian, I can see it was the University of Bath, and I can change what universities I'm comparing straight away. So if I put Northumbria in there, the chart is responsive. So we've gotten what we sort of want. And now I can sort of play around with the chart in order to make it, nicer looking. So at the moment, the chart doesn't have a title. You can make that, your standard Excel, make it that. And so now your chart title will also change depending on what you are looking at. So, so Excel usually looks nicer when you don't have if you're trying to build a dashboard, try to get rid of the grid lines. So you go to page layout and get rid of the grid lines here. And also with your actual chart, you can you see the chart elements here. It's got a an axis label here, which you might not necessarily want. If you want it to look nice, you can put your data labels inside your graphs. And I'll just show you what else you can do with that. So you format data labels, and then you go to, so let's make it white so it shows up at the end. And then we have no need for the axis labels now. One second. So we've taken off the axis label. We can also take out the chart grid lines and a few other things as well, and the chart border lines. So it just sort of blends in with the background on Excel. One second. So if we go no border line, we've taken that off. We can also format plot area. Sorry, one moment. So we'll just come back to that in a moment, but I'm just trying to show you basically that there are different things that you can do with the formatting of your chart. So another chart you can make is, so if I go to the initial dashboard, so I'll just show you basically what I've done through this one, so it saves us more time. Another dashboard you can make is, another change you can make is you can add things like shadows. Once you select this and say format plot area, it takes you to this place, and you play around with things here. You can see automatic border, or filling in the background with a different color, for example. So that's that for the first chart anyway. And this second chart is a simple pie chart that helps you compare all the different things that make up a particular measure. So here we're looking at the number of students in each faculty across different universities. So I want to be able to pick one university and see what the share of the percentage of students across faculties is. So it's a similar approach in the sense that I'll just show you the options I have made already so that we don't have to rehash them again. So remember, we just did these 5 for the first selector. Now for the second selector, it's the same thing. We just want one single line as well to come out. And here, the index match that we are going to do is indexing, it's indexing the faculty, and it is reflecting what data is there. So when I change the institution, that should also change as well. So we've changed that institution to Bangor. We can see that this line is now for students in Bangor. And so if I go back to the dashboard, it literally works the same way. All I've done is to insert a pie chart instead of a column chart. And then here I have I have played around with the chart design as well to insert chart elements like data labels. The data labels here, I've made it a call out. So yes, so the data labels, I've made it a call out, but you can play around with that. And here, something interesting I did as well was, depending on what university you pick, the chart title changes. However, I've hidden a sort of a responsive chart title here. So that would say the sentence, share of students by faculty, colon, University of, and then the university name is actually responsive. So I've done that using the ampersand sign to sort of concatenate the sentence that I'm trying to get out. And it was that box that I've used as the responsive chart title. So I've just colored this cell in white, but this is what is actually contained in that cell B21 just here. So so I just didn't want to take up too much time, but basically that's how you can create some functionality or some responsiveness within Excel if you are trying to work with drop downs and responsive charts. And then, you know, you can add things like logo designs as well and put them on the side. Yeah, so that brings me to the end of my presentation, actually. Thank you. Toby, are you still there?
Yep, I am here. That's super. That's super. That's super. I'm just getting some things out. So if you have any more questions, please add them to the chat now.
Okay.
I think that was a very crisp, straight to the point presentation, Anthonia.
Yeah, very straight to the point.
Very straight to the point. Okay, that's really cool. I don't know. Do you want to take some questions now?
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. I'm fine to take questions now. Should I stop sharing my screen?
No. Please share your screen. I
Okay.
think what we're seeing is even gonna make it easier to ask questions, right?
Okay.
Or to ask related questions anyway. Yeah, super. Okay, so the first one, which was much earlier whilst you were presenting, is on your Excel version. Are you using Office 365? Are you using Excel Office 365? I know you're on a Mac, right? So
yeah, like I hardly actually use this Mac for anything. So this Excel version, I believe it's from Office 365, which I downloaded, let's say in 2019, and I haven't updated it since then. So, but it hasn't given me any problems. Why, if I may ask?
I think someone's asking or saying that they don't have access to the filter function.
The filter function. Oh, right. So it's my understanding that that function should be available, to the latest Excel, and I think it's quite an old function. I don't think it's anything new. But yeah, I'm not too sure about that actually, so I do apologize. Yeah, filter function, I've used it even a few years back, so.
Yeah, I know it came as part of the functions that allowed you to manipulate with like dynamic tables and play around with dynamic tables. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so this is Excel 365 version. And I think latest versions of Excel for these last 2-3 years have had this filter function. Okay, all right. Second one is could the data have been extracted directly from the source table as opposed to creating the first table with the filters?
So what we are trying to achieve when we create this table here is because we have 5 different options that we want each of them to be responsive when we get these data out. So while I could have done the index match, you know, based on that first table, it wouldn't have worked, you know, if when I changed the metric that we're looking at the top, it may not have been as seamless as what we were trying to achieve. So this, I mean, maybe thinking about it now, it might be possible, but it might be messy, you know, for me to just straight up go to the ranking data to index match across 5 different options. I wanted a clear way to extract 5 different lines that we were looking at, and then transpose that into a table or a graph. So it is possible. It's the same index match function that we would work on this tab directly, but it doesn't just give us this clear 5 lines of, you know, just fixing what we want to look at.
Okay. There's another question here. Is there an alternative to the filter function, function on other versions of Excel?
Okay, I mean, I'm quite surprised that, you know, that's I really hoped that, you know, all the functions would be available all through. So I really apologize if this function isn't available, but a different option might be, and it would be quite, you know, repetitive, but it would be to index match every single one of these here. So index match each and every single bit of the title from the big table into here. And index and match should be functions that are available all across as well. But the filter is sort of an index match for whole lines of data. So yeah, if that's not available, then you should be able to put an index match function in each and every one of these boxes.
Right. Yeah, I think it's there could be other workarounds with legacy functions, but you're going to write like multiple index, maybe use an aggregate, if error, and all those things.
Yeah, that's something that comes up a lot, I think, in Excel, is that in order to achieve something that's a drag and drop or click on Tableau, it's you actually have to write functions and think about what it is you want to achieve before it comes out. So yeah, it's good for the analytic thinking, but it's a lot of annoying work.
Okay, so and looking like the final question here, it's the index and match looks a bit complicated, right? Can you take time to elaborate on those functions?
Certainly. So I did rush a bit through it because I didn't want to spend too long, so I apologize. So let me write an index match function again. So when you have a box here, like so, you have an institution here, and you want a number to appear here, right? That is, sorry, 1 second. So you have an institution here, and you want a number to appear here that somehow relates to that institution. So we have the institutions here, Aberystwyth. I hope I pronounced it right. So let's go back to the dashboard. That number that you want to appear here, you want it to correlate to this metric you're looking at called average entry staff for Aberystwyth. So we look at the range in which the metrics appear. It's in this range here. And the range in which the title that we are looking for appears is here, right? And what's the metric title called? Average entry staff, average entry tariff, sorry. It's here. So what we're trying to tell Excel is look for a number here that matches with average entry tariff here based on what I pick on the left box. So let me just write that out. So we start with index. And when you write out index, you want to write out the number that you want to return where it says array. So we go to that line that has the number we want to return and click the whole line and we place a comma. Now we put the match function to be embedded inside the index function. And match function asks for the lookup value. So the lookup value is this, is average entry tariff. And we are looking up that value in this range. Yeah, so this is, and for index match to work, the ranges have to match. So this is K to T, and this is K to T as well. And then we tell it if it's an exact match that we want, and then we close the brackets. And so it should give us 118, which means Excel has looked for this value in this range and given us the corresponding value in the corresponding range. So it's a bit, it took me like a few runs to figure it out, but yeah, just know that the ranges have to match. And one range is the range you are looking up the value. The other range is the range you are returning the value. And the single value is the value you are looking up in that range. So once you mix and match it, it will appear at some point.
Super. I was gonna say to that as well that with the the release of this new function XLOOKUP, it might make it easier for somebody who doesn't want to write index and match as well. Because at the end of the day, I find that multiple functions can do the same thing. In Excel, depends on how you employ those functions.
Yeah, I think with me, it's a matter of, that was the first one I started writing, and it works for everything.
Me too.
It works for everything. Yeah. So I didn't, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So
don't fix it.
I didn't bother with anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think the moment I've used index and match and it's worked perfectly. Yeah, there's no need to change it. Yeah, so I think we have come to the end of the questions and also the data digest for today. Oh yeah, someone just Dan also just mentioned, says he loves the XLOOKUP, but it's in the same versions as filter. I think it's possible. I think those functions were released at the same time in filter, sort, all those things, XLOOKUP.
I didn't actually know that, they were so new. Yeah.
They're new now, but I mean, to people that have been using them for some time, it's like, okay, for you now, you've been using it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for everyone that's been here and it's probably like your first time joining the Data Digest, please please share your feedback with us, right, in this survey, right, which I'm gonna add now. And yeah, hopefully we're gonna catch you guys in the next 2 weeks. Again on another exciting episode of the Data Digest. And from all of us, from Resa Gratia, I want to say thank you to Anthonia for gracing this show and for sharing some insights. I think it was a very fantastic presentation and a very good experience, especially for those that haven't yet built their first interactive dashboard. So this is really great to see.
Thanks for having me, Toby. And thanks, everyone. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you so much. People are saying thank you in the comments, so
thanks, everyone.
Shout out to them before we close. All right. Have a lovely, today's Saturday, right? Have a lovely weekend to everybody. And see you later.